Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the CBL X's and O's podcast for season 2023. We're sitting down to review round 10 in the Southwest Conference, and I've got Beck McIntyre out of the Horsham Hornets joining me again today. And your team had a good win on the weekend, Beck, but then, Mount Gambier and the men have had a big weekend beating two top four teams.
Yes, they have. I think that they've definitely shown their dominance with coming off those two big wins on the road, which isn't always easy, as we know. And I think especially without Tom Daly, who's a noticeable absence in both of those wins. So if they do put together their team list that they can, then I think they're only going to get better and better. So probably a bit scary for some teams out there. And look, our Horsham boys, they didn't play their best game Saturday night. So there's lots of improvement for them. But they're looking forward to they'll be looking forward to having a crack again at them at finals at some stage. But Mount Gambier were pretty good to watch on Saturday night.
Let's start with that game. Mount Gambier travelled to Horsham to take on the Hornets at the Nest, and Austin McKenzie put up 29 points, but it wasn't enough for the home team to get over the line. They ended up going down by 8 points.
Yeah, look, I mean, Aussie's obviously he's leading the scoring for the whole conference. Anyone who's had a chance to have a look at that can see that he's right up the top. He's pulling out, 25 plus points a game on average. So, for us, we just miss the people to support him. So, normally we would have 2 or 3 or 4 of our players come out with 10 or more points. So unfortunately, we had Mitch there with 16, but Cody Bryan probably didn't get as much as what he could have. But, Cody was exceptional in defense for us. He got a lot of rebounds. He pushed the ball up the floor, but just wasn't able to finish at times. So it was a bit of a shame because Damien Scurry, who's one of our salutes at Horsham, the first Indigenous player to play 150 games for the Horsham Hornets. So it was a really special night for him. So unfortunately, they couldn't get the win for him. But it was really nice to celebrate his milestone. And we had a reunion night of our championship teams from 03 and 08, and he was the only member of those both teams that was still playing. So even though they didn't get a win, it was a really nice night in Horsham with our 70th anniversary, and we had a whopping 400-person crowd, which was yelling at Mount Gambier a lot. So for those Mount Gambier boys to get over the line at the end, it was a credit to them because they definitely weren't having many friends in the crowd, that was for sure.
And Terang took on Portland in what was a bit of a nightmare weekend for Portland. In the end, they suffered 2 losses, but Saturday night they travelled to Terang and went down by 3 points. And, Nathan Hardingham continuing his fine form, shooting 25 points, just wasn't enough to get the Coasters over the line.
Yeah, look, and I mean, we've been saying it for a few weeks now, and I've kind of kept saying it, but Terang are the underdogs, and I have just, been watching them from afar, and I think that, we were looking at the ladder earlier that, there potentially could be a 4-way tie for 4th. And I think that Terang will have that spot absolutely in their sights. So, looking at the stats earlier, they've got the 2 top 3-point shooters for the league in their team. So they can shoot it from the perimeter. And I think that's obviously panning to be a real problem for some teams. And I think exciting end for their season. They've got a lot to be able to still achieve, I think. And Portland would not be happy with 2 losses, unfortunately, for them.
And Warrnambool welcomed Hamilton into the Arc on Saturday night, where they were able to get the easy win in the end, running out 30-point victors.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and I mean, we've talked about this a lot, that it's not anything to say about the season that Hamilton is having there, but a 30-point win for Warrnambool is probably really good at this point, and I think something that they will take with both hands. They're one of the teams that's got their eyes on this 4th spot, so all of these games, it could potentially come to percentage. I mean, obviously we start head to head, but you just don't know where it's going to go from there. So all of these games are going to matter, and every single one that we've got coming up, I think you just can't. You have to win the winnable games, and it's really going to put the pressure on that ladder.
And then we had a cracker of a game between Ararat and Colac, so 2 teams that are featuring towards the bottom of the ladder, battling it out. And it was a 5-point game, and the Cookers were able to get over the line. But, Fletcher Berger did all he could trying to shooting 28 points for the Redbacks, but it just wasn't enough on their home court.
Yeah, look, and I mean, Ararat and Hamilton are both probably at the end of the ladder with 2 and 1 wins, but Colac are sitting on 4 wins now, so they're only 1 win off that 4-way tie for fourth. So a couple of unexpected wins from here on in, and that could be a 5-way tie. Like how amazing and tight is that? Which just means that they're 1 or 2 players off top 2 really when you're competing consistently like that. So Colac will be happy with that, I'd imagine, and they still I think would be looking to finish this season off as strong as they can.
And then on Sunday, the Cookers welcomed Warrnambool into Colac, but they couldn't defend their home court, going down by about 21, which turned into a really good weekend for Warrnambool, securing 2 wins and putting them into the top 4.
Yeah, look, and I think, they basically just did a swap with Portland, didn't they? 2 losses to Portland and 2 wins to Warrnambool. So, yeah, look, they would be pretty happy with that, I'd imagine. And they're up to 6 now. So, if Portland had just got one of those, they would be still in there at that top 4. So yeah, look, I think it's just keep saying it, but it's so exciting to see where this is going to end up in the next few weeks.
And the last game in the men's was Portland welcomed Mount Gambier into the Lighthouse, and obviously Simon Berkefeld come in and shot 27 points for the Lakers, which caused all the damage to get the Lakers the win.
Yeah, look, and Simon was a big part of the reason why Horsham struggled a lot on Saturday night too. So I believe he was overseas and he's come back from a ripping holiday, I think, and now ripping it up on the basketball court. So he's a massive in for them. Just his experience, the way he plays, he brings all the other people into the game, the way he passes, he leads on the court. He's really good to watch. And a few of our championship boys I was standing with on the weekend, and they were saying, look, he caused him a lot of trouble for a long time back in the day as well. And, they were pretty proud to see that he's still out there, having a crack and putting 30 points on the board. So, yeah, look, he's been a noticeable in for them. And I think that will help them finish their season even stronger than what maybe we first thought. But Portland had all their big guns. They had Hardingham, they had Hayden, they had Toby Jennings back. So, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. We might have to do a phone in and have a chat to Coach Arnett and just see how he's going and see what's happening. But yeah, anyway, they'll be back to the drawing board this week for training, won't they? To see what's going to happen for the rest of their season, because they'll definitely be fighting for that 4th spot, I reckon.
That's it. Let's hope they can get the wheels back on their season and continue to drive towards the top end of the ladder rather than towards the bottoms. And at that time, let's have a look at the ladder, and we've got Horsham sitting on top with a 9-2 record, and Mount Gambier, same thing, 9-2 record, sitting second currently. Third is Millicent with a 7-4 record, and then we start hitting that mid-pack, as you mentioned. Warrnambool 6-5, Portland 5-5, Terang 5-5, Colac 4-8, and then Ararat 2-8, and Hamilton 1-9 to round out the ladder. All teams have played 10 games now, so not many to go. But as you mentioned, that the race for 4th is heating up between 3, potentially 4 teams.
Yeah, look, and Portland come to Horsham next week. So they beat them last time. So they won't have any reason why they can't think that they can do that again. So, that'll be another cracking game when we later in the week look to see what's coming up. But yeah, I think that there's going to be every single game is going to matter. Even on the weekend, I said to our boys, afterwards, like, we beat Mount Gambier by 6, they beat us by 8, so this head-to-head really brings that next element of these games in. I know with my girls, we knew we had to win by more than 5. So, that's where it gets really interesting, I think. You first win the game, and then secondly is how can you maintain that head-to-head spot? So, yeah, exciting times.
That's it. We'll move our focus to the women's now when we talk about Saturday night. Your team, the Horsham Hornets, welcomed Mount Gambier, who brought 5 players this week into the nest, and you guys were able to get over the line by 7 points and get that head-to-head classification back against the Lakers.
Yeah, look, and I mean, they did only have 5 players, which, as we know, I've been there recently and it's not a fun place to be in. So they did a really good job, and there was some exceptionally good basketballs in that 5. They shot 8 3-pointers for the game, which, just about nearly destroyed our back in the first quarter because we were 16 points down. So for us, we had, one of our main scorers was knocked out with concussion from last weekend, so she couldn't play. She was on the bench, but she obviously couldn't take the court. So we did really missed her consistent scoring. But with our home crowd, they helped us get up and back over the line, and they dug deep. It was 3/4 of our crowd was in for the women. So the women were playing in front of 300 people. I know when we went to Mount Gambier, there was only 10 people there, and I think 4 of them were from Horsham. So Mount Gambier probably aren't really used to playing in front of that many people. And for us, they were up and about, and they really helped us get over the line, which was nice because it was such a special evening for us. But we had some really good performances. Our captain Liv Jones, she was able to shoot 5 threes. She had a really solid performance on the points, which was nice to see her. My twin towers, Maddie and Emma, were back after their CrossFit championship that they actually come second, the Australian Down Under Championship last weekend. So it was nice to welcome them back for 43 points together. And then, we had some really good performances from Tamara and Jess. So, for us, it was pretty much do or die. If we didn't win that game, we were going to struggle for finals. So they dug deep, and they did everything that we needed to do it wasn't pretty, but we got over the line. So we'll take it.
And then on Sunday, the Warrnambool Mermaids travelled to Colac to take on the Cookers, and Ava Bishop has shot 22 points for the Mermaids and proved the difference pretty much in this game.
Yeah, look, and Mia Mills is back. So she's been away in America. She's a massive in for them. We've talked about her before. She's one of their most experienced players at a very, mere old age of 18. I don't even think she is 18 yet, but she feels like she's 25 because she's been in this Mermaids side since she was 13 or 14. But she's a big in for them as well. So, Matilda Sewell's having a great season. Peyton Noonan, she destroyed us when we played them. She got 5 or 6 threes against us. So, look, they're a quality team, hard to beat. And, look, they've obviously come out and had a very good win against Colac. But, as we've talked about, Colac, they're hanging in there. They've managed to get their win. But, the young team that they've got, they stick together. In 3 or 4 years, I've got no doubt in my mind that they're going to be pushing that top of the ladder if they can keep all those girls there.
And the final game in the women's was the Portland Coasters taking on Mount Gambier, and this was probably a closer game than we expected. Portland have come out in front by 8 points, and Millie Jennings shooting 16 points for the Coasters has obviously been a standout for them this game.
Yeah, look, and I mean, a tough road trip for the Mount Gambier girls, and credit to them because, they come over with 5 and battled until the very last minute, and then they picked up a few players. The coach was saying, Scott, that he picked up a few players the next day, so they would have welcomed those girls back in, especially to get some rest, because obviously 5 of their players have played 40 points. I think one did get fouled out with only 5 minutes to go, so there was a time in that last quarter where they only had 4. So look, they would be, they'd be probably disappointed, but shouldn't be, I don't think, after coming off such a tough weekend. And look, Portland, I think, are really stepping out there to be the team to beat. They are 100% consistent. They've got big depth off their bench. They've got massive numbers. 12 girls suit up every week. They've got Alana Strom back in. I know I talk about her all the time, but, she just brings another element to them because she's so tall and she's strong and she's got such experience. So, I really love Heidi. I think she's a great player for them. So they've just got some really amazing players. So obviously Millie led the scoring here, but they've got 5 or 6 girls capable of putting 20 points on the board. So, I think they're the team to beat. And I look forward to playing them in Horsham next week when we've actually got a little bit more of a full team. I think I might actually, for the first time for this season, have the whole of my team. So that's pretty exciting, into round 10, that I might actually get for the first time the whole of my 9 players. So anyway, looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
That's it. Let's have a look at the ladder. Portland sit on top with a 5-2 record, and then the next 3 positions are really tight. We've got Warrnambool with a 4-2, Horsham 4-3, Millicent 4-3, Mount Gambier 3-4, not far out of the top 4, and then Colacs round out the ladder with a 1-6 record. So again, most of these teams have still got 3 games to play, most of them. The ladder's taking shape, and it's so close for the top 4 positions.
Yeah, and look, even the home final, I mean, with the 3 of us, 4 of us left, not only is it to make the 4, but then it's so close that anyone can get that home final. And we know how big of a difference that makes when you have your home final. So, I know that we're going to give it a crack. We're going to do everything we can to try and not only cement our spot in the 4, but to get that home final, because, you know, it looks like that our men might get it. So if we could potentially have, you know, a men and women's home final, that would be massive, because we know we'd sell out 500 people. But all of these, like Portland's the same, the men and women arena, you know, so they've got a lot to play for as well, because, you know, the men especially, because to get a home crowd, get double headers for that, you know, that stuff brings that extra element and does get you over the line. So I think it's probably the closest it's been in years, which is good. Great for the competition.
That is, it's great for the competition. That's our round 10 review in the Southwest Conference. And I'll jump on a call later this week with you, Beck, and we'll preview what will be round 11 in the Southwest. But for now, that's it. So listeners, fans, viewers, stay tuned for the preview to come later in the week.